Hello everyone, and I just wanted to share with you my experience from yesterday. I went to the Swiss Cloud Native Day. It was a conference on the top of Gurten in Bern, Switzerland, and the conference itself, it was great. I really enjoyed it. There were a lot of people involved and a lot of great talks and presentations, but I wanted to highlight one of them. The last one, it was a fireside chat with Kelsey Hightower, and as you can see from the description, it was just a quick interview or chat with him that was organized by uh, people behind this conference. They were trying to invite him to that conference for quite some time from 2020 and never had a chance because of COVID, because of different situations. But finally, he was on site and it was possible to have a chat with him. There were a couple of questions from organizers themselves, and then it was open for the public to ask their questions, and he would answer anything. And he is a great presenter, he is a great speaker, really, he can get your attention and keep it all the time. And the whole thing, as I said, maybe I'm repeating myself, it was very good, and I thoroughly enjoyed it and wanted to have a little bit of a reiteration or to repeat what he said and maybe a couple of my own thoughts and inputs about this. So what he was talking mostly about is that there wasn't actually a big change in technology for a long time. And what was really interesting for me, there was a question about platform engineering and what he thinks about this. And his answer was great, that platform engineering it's pretty much just a buzzword that you need to go to LinkedIn and put it into your profile, and that's pretty much it. And I completely agree with him about this, because as he was describing it, some time ago, 20, 30 years ago, there were those big mainframes, maybe more than 30 years ago, there were those big mainframes where you would, in a really hard way, users would input their data, make those requests, and those mainframes would compute something and give a response. Then situation changed and we received our servers, and the deployment were easier, and then we got the virtual machines instead of the physical servers, so we're trying to abstract away things. Now it is Kubernetes is the latest, and well, not necessarily latest, but thing that everyone is trying to use, and finally the latest addition to the whole fray is we have serverless compute instances where you don't even need to think about the underlying infrastructure or whatnot. But still, what Kelsey said is fundamentally the idea is the same. You have a user, you have something that runs your code, and finally you have your code that will process the data and give the response back to the user in one way or another. And it actually doesn't really matter what is the technology that is behind this. It's just that you have a task to do the computation, and that's it. Uh, but the interesting bit is where the DevOps people or platform engineering people or SRE people will come into play. Pretty much all of that is the same flavor of different flavors of the same job. And instead of just focusing on a code, DevOps people should focus on not on those specific platforms where they run, but how easy it is to use them and how easy it is to maintain those serverless functions or Kubernetes clusters and so on. The developers who work on a code, they need to be able to deploy the code as fast as possible and with as less issues as possible, and then the code needs to be executed on those platforms correctly, and then the users need to be able to use the code as they please, and that is the end result. So even though the technology, it looks like it changed a lot, and the difference between the mainframe machines or virtual machines and cloud functions, it's huge. The idea is still the same, that you have users sending the data needs to be processed and returned, and that is the main idea of the whole software development, and what we as developers and DevOps people are actually working on. And I think that's a really great point that we all need to remember. Another thing that he was talking about is that how, because of that, how he is not really excited about anything, and all of the new technologies that emerge and are used at the moment, they are pretty much the same old thing, maybe with a different wrapping and just additional bells and whistles. And while I do agree with this, and as he gave an example that when the Istio was announced, he actually approached the creator of Istio and Envoy and asked, so, for example, with mutual TLS, I tried to do that same thing with Nginx, and I configured it in such and such way. So what is the difference with Istio? How does it implement the mutual TLS? And the answer was that actually it is doing the exact same thing, but it helps developers and DevOps people to just not think about it and do it in a easier and more efficient way. And that's it. And because of that, he said that he is not really excited about the technology nowadays, and that all of those new things that we can try, they are pretty much the same old things that were there for a long time, and there is nothing new. It is correct, but still you can be excited about new technologies, and that you don't need to spend 2 hours configuring your Nginx, and instead you can just deploy the Istio sidecar with a single command, for example, and the default configuration will work. So I actually like the technology, and I think it not only that you need to focus on what you do, but on how you do it, and that you need to have fun. And I think that's a pragmatic approach, that you need to have a balance between your actual work, where you spend time and just you focus on efficiency. But on the other hand, if you just burning yourself out, trying to be as efficient as possible, and learning all of the old things to understand the nitty-gritty details of new technologies, it can be overwhelming, and you need to have fun, because it will be much more efficient to achieve the results. So a little bit of a blabbering from my side, but yeah, I wanted to add those couple of cents from my end. Thank you.